Hey guys, doing one more video today. I decided. And lo and behold, just got a game. Let's try the English in this one. This is an occasional weapon of mine. C4 and G3. Is this the Italian flag? Yeah, Italy, okay. There's several ways white can treat this line. We're headed for a Tarrasch defense now by transposition if he takes with a pawn. He takes with the knight instead. I'm going to go D4 here. Open up the center. If he castles, I'll play E4 next. And I'd expect him to take on C3. Doesn't do that. Advance D5. I'm going to play faster this game. Gonna do it. So now he's trying to bait me into winning a pawn. Knight takes knight, pawn takes knight, queen takes d4, knight c2. Would lose the rook in the corner for me, so I can't do that. I think I'll take, and then play knight b5. Although he can take on d5 there. And if I take him, queen takes, knight c7, let's say queen c6, knight takes a8, bishop h3, threatening mate on g2. I don't like the look of that. Tough decision already. Let's see how this works out. Just develop. Straightforward. 5-minute game, can't think about it too much. Now his knight coming to c2 isn't a big deal. He could take on d5, though. Pins me instead. Oh. Knight takes f3. Bishop takes h3. Missed that. Oops. But that's not clear because I can play d6. Moot point. Get the bishop out of there. Now knight e5 or take on d4. Taking on d4 is similar to the other line earlier, taking on d4. Let's try it. I don't see any other way I'm getting something out of this, so let's go ahead and try knight b5. If he takes, though, and I take, queen takes, knight c7, queen e4 is annoying. Very annoying. I do not like the look of that. Let's go here. So he's going to come away with the two bishops if he takes on f4. I'm better positioned to bring my rooks to the center, though, and this bishop is strong. So hopefully that neutralizes some of the bishop pair advantage. Another game where I'm playing to simplify. I just got to go crazy in one of these videos. I do have a pretty positional style, though. I'm not going to lie. You might be already able to pick up on that. This looks really equal. So I take on b7, he takes me, bishop takes, rook b8. Do I have rook fe1 there? Let's give it a shot. Give him some problems. So now if he plays, for instance, f6 to give his king an escape square, I can check on d5. And if he plays something else, I can take on e8, draw this rook away, and I'll be up a pawn. Almost certainly he missed this move. If he plays rook e d8, I can go rook a d1. Similar idea. If rook f8, I can play rook e7. So I stand a good chance of hanging on to this pawn. If rook e6, I can play bishop d5. This move's also good, stops him from coming into d2. Rook activity is just huge in endings with like one rook on board, for instance. Now I might be able to get into d7. Let's do it. Now I'll attempt to just bring up the queenside pawns. b4, a4, b5. If this bishop ever moves, bishop d5 is something he has to consider. And he just resigned. Another game where I think my opponent resigned prematurely. It's tough to defend, though. He doesn't have a lot of play here. Going back, that move looks like the culprit for him. I thought he would just take on b2. If he takes b2, I was going to take on b7. And let's say trade. It's the game continuation, but white doesn't have a b pawn remaining still. So clearly that was better. Take a quick look from the beginning. I was about to say that white has several different ways of handling these positions. One popular way to do this is play e4 and go knight ge2. That's the Botvinnik setup, named after former world champion Mikhail Botvinnik, of course. In that case, white's playing to control d5. So, like sample continuation, just make some random moves for black. White would proceed like this, and then put the bishop on e3, maybe later advance d4. I played this system on occasion. But when he plays e6, I think he's angling for d5, so e4, knight f3, d5, take makes sense. And if he takes with the e-pawn, then d4 transposes into a Tarrasch defense, which would be mainly reached through 1 d4 for white. He took with the knight, though. Played d4. I'm not sure about this move. Worked out well for him in the game. He just caught me off guard. Advance d5. Yeah, and I was alluding to lines like this, where I lose the rook in the corner, so I can't do that. If I play knight b5 here, I was worried that he would take, and then if I take, and go after his rook, kind of a mirror image of him going after my rook on a1, it just seems like the light squares get very much weakened here. Bishop h3 threatens mate on g2, and if I play f3, he can recover the material. Something along those lines. With an advantage for black, I think. Maybe, though, I could just take on d4 here with the queen. I didn't even think about that. Missed that move. Knight takes d4 looks equal. Maybe queen takes gives me something. I can go bishop e6. So, therefore, I played bishop f4. He pinned, and then I played h3. But this has to be a mistake because he can take
Check.
now. and then take on h3. Totally missed that. Then I thought for a second, if this happened, maybe I go d6. The idea of this and this. But of course, he'll probably play bishop f6. Let's add in the engine here, see what it says. Rook e1 with compensation. I do have a powerful bishop. This pawn is annoying for black. So that might not have been as bad as I thought. Engine says bishop takes f3, and then just bishop d6 blockading the d-pawn. With advantage to black. Those are some fearsome knights. This one on b4 I can potentially shove out of the way with a3, but that one on d4 is really strong. So he played bishop h5, but then I got g4 in. Take, take, knight b5. Didn't play queen takes again because of knight c2. Engine says go ahead and do that, though. Gives this line. With compensation for white. Some advantage for black. Yeah, I wouldn't have done this. Just played knight b5. Oh, bishop d3. Missed that move. That's one way to lose an exchange. Okay, yeah, totally overlooked bishop d3. Fortunately, so did he. He took. I took. I was speculating that white was fine here. Maybe I sold black's position short a little bit. I'm probably the one who still has to equalize. Queen c7. Yep, now inexplicably he didn't take on b2. Did that. And this move is key for white. Rook fe1. Without that, I don't have anything. I was originally thinking bishop c6, but he just attacks the bishop. And I think he'll regain the pawn. But rook fe1 is irritating for him. He could use a move like h6 right now. If he had h6 in, and we have this position, black has no problems. But he doesn't have time for a Luft move. And I played rook a d1. Took, took. h5, give himself Luft. Now he's threatening to take the bishop, but I invade. Traded the pawns, and then he resigned. Yeah, I think premature. I mean, definitely white's doing well, but he's got to test me here. If this was an OTB game, I'm pretty sure he would never resign this position. Nor should any of you guys watching this video. But what does he do? As I said, I can bring up my pawns. Computer suggests a5 just to halt the advance of white's pawns. Yeah, I like f4. It's a good suggestion. Crowd him. f6. Bring up the king. Can almost do a straight shot with the king over to the queen side. It's a technical win for white, but he should test me. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, have a good weekend.